She took the ring off and even the streetlights seemed confused. That black suit she wore. Blade sharp, like she dressed for closure. As Selena stepped out of the tinted SUV, the night itself felt charged, the air buzzing like static. Number. Smile, no entourage, just her walking alone into the flash of cameras. Her bare ring finger catching every flicker of light like a final statement. But what broke the internet wasn't just what was missing. It was what she held. In the same hand that once carried a diamond, now dangled two things. A frayed plush toy embroidered with Jesus loves you, its stitching worn down from anxious. Thumb rubs, and beside it, a single studio key. That one object said everything. She wasn't walking away from dinner. She was walking into something. A midnight session. A locked door. And the question echoing louder than any tabloid headline. Who was waiting behind it? But to understand that moment, you need to rewind 48 hours. Security footage, grainy and flickering with a half-dead time stomp, shows Selena and Benny exiting a private elevator 15 floors below street level. No security, no smiles, just silence. He gestures toward her phone and she lifts it like evidence. The audio's muted, but lip readers online swear they caught the phrase, creative hostage. And then, with the kind of quiet resolve that rewrites relationships in real time, she leans forward, kisses him on the cheek, and slips the engagement ring into the front pocket of his hoodie. No tears, no drama, just a surgical goodbye. She walks away without looking back, and the elevator doors close like curtains falling on the final act of a play no one realized was ending. But that was just the beginning. On social media, fans were still reposting cereal in a mug selfies and studio snapshots, thinking everything was fine. But insiders? They were reading a different diary entirely. While Benny was layering synths. At 4 a.m, chasing chart placements like bounty hunters. Selena was thousands of miles away in Switzerland, scripting a mental health docuseries with sleep scientists. The time zones weren't just geographic anymore, they were emotional. Flirty texts had become shared Google Calendar invites. Voice notes had become missed calls. And it was those calls that cracked the fanbase open. Her FaceTime log showed 14 missed calls in a single night, all from B. Each one punctuated with a broken heart emoji Benny had ironically set months ago. She never answered them. The screenshots leaked. And just like that, fandoms split into war camps, theory threads multiplied, and every detail of her life, her outfit, her captions, even her cough, turned into clues. The pressure of being Selena isn't just public. It's radioactive. Every breath is taxed. Every movement spawns conspiracy. And yet, while the fandom imploded, her medical team was quietly mobilizing. Everyone had missed it, except them. Hidden in the backdrop of a now viral breakup photo carousel was a detail so subtle it felt staged. A bedside drawer left slightly ajar, just enough to reveal a pill organizer labeled Tuesday PM, still full. That tiny signal set off. Alarms behind the scenes. Her doctors intervened fast, pulling Selena into a silent retreat clinic tucked in Big Sur the very next day. No press release, no farewell post, just gone. Meanwhile, Benny was shouldering his own unraveling. Stage fright wired into his childhood, anxiety disguised as sarcasm. Producers whispering that one bad project could collapse everything he'd built, two people both battling private fires, trying to love each other in public like it was sustainable. It wasn't, but what nobody saw coming was how hard they tried anyway. They even attempted couples therapy. Over Zoom, but by the third session, the Wi-Fi cut out mid-sentence. And neither one ever rescheduled, but even their silence told a story. Fans thought the carousel was just another breakup breadcrumb, but those who paid attention noticed something else. Every slide was a clue. Slide 1, the black suit and her icy stare. Slide 2, the plush toy thumb-worn like it had been gripped through every panic attack. Slide 3, torn photos, not ripped in rage, but neatly split as if she'd rehearsed detachment. Slide 4, a close crop of that drawer cracked open, the untouched pillbox still visible. Health stands still when heartbreak hits, and the fans may have missed it, but her team didn't. Meanwhile, the noise outside the retreat was deafening. TikTok detectives zoomed in on old interviews. Reddit threads broke down audio waveforms. Was that his voice in her Instagram story from 3 weeks ago? Discord servers ran polls on whether the plush toy came from a church bookstore or a private rehab chapel. But while the internet spiraled into chaos, Selena's team made a quiet move, launching a limited edition rare beauty lipstick called Boundaries. It sold out in 7 minutes. Supporters called it survival. Critics called it exploitation. But either way, the message was clear, even in collapse. She was monetizing the fallout. But what fans didn't see, what they weren't supposed to see, was that something bigger was moving behind the curtain. Insiders at Interscope began whispering. Selena had quietly registered a new publishing entity called Clockwork Heart. The lead single? Rumored to sample one of Benny's unreleased drum loops, legally cleared, emotionally savage. A breakup record, carved from their shared timeline, but even more shocking. Lawyers from both camps were spotted meeting late at a sushi bar in West Hollywood. No food, no drinks, just documents. Word spread fast. This wasn't just heartbreak, it was asset division, trademark filings, rights negotiations. A counter-narrative began leaking from Benny's side. He'd allegedly begged for a real vacation. No studios, no cameras, no producers, just them. She'd said yes, but after the charity gala, she never booked the trip. Instead, she posted selfies from an A-list table. In retaliation, he ghost-produced a track for someone fans suspect might be her ex. Nothing confirmed, but the whispers? Deafening. The timeline was no longer a straight line. It had splintered into conflicting truths. And somewhere beneath the surface, both of them were trying to take control of who would own the heartbreak. Rewind. Further, and the story begins to fray in even more haunting ways. It's 2019. Benny, fresh off a diet of Cantuna and club soda, standing backstage at the AMAs, swearing to a friend, I'm done dating inside the industry. Minutes later, Selena walks by. She compliments his shoelaces. Static. That night, they trade playlists. A week later, she's curled up on his floor at 3 a.m. crying over bar 24 of a demo he made just for her. He named his session mug spoons because she was eating cereal again, a ritual of comfort from her most unstable years. That demo? It never got released. Fans still begged to hear it. But here's the kicker. Studio logs show the master file was checked out on the very night she took off the ring. And now, no one has access except them. The story the media runs is predictable. Whispers of cheating, missing earrings, insurance claims, and stylists talking too loud. But maybe the truth is simpler. Maybe it's not betrayal. Maybe it's just two artists outgrowing the same echo chamber, breaking apart quietly while the world begs for noise, but noise sells. And so the headlines did what headlines do, they invented the loudest version of the truth. Outlets ran with the story, Benny was seen partying at the Nice Guy with a mystery blonde. Security footage leaked, grainy, and time-stamped, showing him at the back of the venue. But here's the detail nobody cared to highlight. He was alone, eating nachos, and he left early. The supposed blonde in question? His vocal coach's 15-year-old niece, celebrating her first recital. They left with her parents. But that didn't matter. The story had already taken shape. The narrative was locked. And in the world of celebrity breakups, facts rarely trend, fiction always does. Meanwhile, deeper in the shadows, something real was brewing. At 11:30 p.m., the lights flicked on inside Republic Studios. A sound engineer, someone fans, quickly connected to Selena's tour drummer, tweeted and then deleted. A cryptic message. Shredded pictures make a killer snare. The tweet was gone in minutes. But the screenshots survived. And now the theory is catching fire. Is Selena turning their breakup, the memories, the photos, the silence, into percussion? Into catharsis? Into art? Into revenge? While fans fought over who was to blame, Selena quietly began rewriting the next chapter, not through captions, but through motion. Paparazzi caught her stepping out of a boxing gym in downtown LA, gloves slung over one shoulder, hair slick with sweat, whispering just loud enough for someone to hear, I like the sound my rage makes. For some, it was just a throwaway line, for others, a declaration. Therapist sources later called it healthy externalization. Phantoms had a different name, the beginning of her combat pop era. But here's what they missed. Each glove bore the initials BB written in thick black marker. A clue? A farewell? A reclamation? No one knows. What's certain is that Her team scrambled into brand survival mode. There was a co-signed fragrance deal scheduled to launch next quarter, a scent line tied to both their names. Marketing teams debated whether they could pivot the entire campaign into an empowerment narrative. Rumors swirled that the fragrance would be renamed Clean Break, and trademark filings seemed to confirm it. But just as plans moved forward, phone transcripts leaked. Selena allegedly told her manager, "If they want the scent, they take my name off the box. Power move or financial self-sabotage?" Either way, the silence around it roared louder than any press release. And just when the noise began to die down, the silence hit harder. Francia, her once estranged kidney donor, posted a cryptic Bible verse with no caption. Justin's fanbase started circulating old DNIs like forensic evidence. Hailey retweeted a mental health hotline, then unretweeted it 10 minutes later. It was chaos disguised as concern. But Selena? She didn't flinch. Instead, she dropped a 3-second TikTok, nothing but a black screen and the sound of a heartbeat. No caption, no context. 30 million views in a day. Fans called it art. Critics called it manipulation, but everyone watched. And that was the point. The open loop stayed open. Then, without warning, she vanished, deleted her grid, canceled an event appearance, slipped north, quietly renting a cedar-lined lake house under a shell company named after her childhood street. Locals whispered they saw her at dawn, cross-legged on the dock, writing in a silver notebook so dark it looked like spilled oil. Each page she finished, she tore out, folded into a boat, and sent drifting into the glass-flat water. Drones buzzed. Overhead, one caught a blurry word scrawled on a page, Perone. No one knew what it meant. And then, just as suddenly, she dove in, fully clothed, collecting the paper boats one by one. When she walked back to shore, soaked and silent, she clutched the dripping pages to her chest like contraband. Fans called it a ritual. Insiders called it a reset. Night fell, but the silence didn't. Candlelight flickered through the slats of the lake house blinds. A fisherman anchored mid-lake later claimed he heard something, a voice, faint and slow, drifting across the water in a low, trembling melody. He said it sounded like wind caught in a cathedral pipe. He recorded it. Voicemail, shaky, staticky. But one thing stood out, the language wasn't English. Spanish, maybe Portuguese. Online, people began analyzing the hum. And 3 days later, a linguistics grad student posted her findings to TikTok. She'd overlaid the sound with a 1692 sonnet by Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, a poem about forgiving. A lover who betrays twice. The cadence matched perfectly. The syllables lined up on every downbeat. The fandom exploded. Did Selena just set a 17th century apology to melody? Or was the internet stitching ghosts into static? Cameras arrived the next morning, drones, kayaks, fans anchoring by the shoreline, just waiting for another sound. Another page, another plunge. The lake had become a stage, and Selena, whether intentionally or not, had turned her heartbreak into performance art. By now, the fans weren't just observers, they were analysts. Discord servers turned into war rooms. Stan accounts began running probability models more advanced than most hedge funds. They tracked lunar phases to predict posting habits, scraped metadata from archive stories, calculated calorie estimates based on cafe orders. Every shadow and every photo became a data point. But their confidence skyrocketed when one of their forecasts, the Ariana Dalton split, landed dead on to the hour. That's when the Selena models started spinning harder. The top prediction? A 92% chance she reemerges at the Global Minds Mental Health Summit in Berlin this October. Leaked agenda, one special performance slot. 17:45, exactly 3 minutes shorter than her average acoustic ballad. Stan spreadsheets circled it in red. Discord chatter exploded. Zoom lenses rented. Hotel rooms near the venue sold out overnight. They even predicted her arrival time, 14:07 in a matte white Sprinter van with blackout windows. Give or take Berlin traffic. One theory, the strongest, says Benny won't be on stage. But he'll be in the credits. In the background, twisting knobs. A ghost behind the next chapter. And all of it? Fueled by one simple question, who really owns the heartbreak? But just as Berlin fever reached its peak, another theory detonated. A 34% probability spike suggested something even wilder, a stealth cameo at the Latin Grammys. No nomination, no announcement. Just one moment that could rewrite the narrative in front of millions. The clue? A stylist assistant, quietly followed by Selena's team, began engaging with a high-end atelier in Mexico City. Known for rush orders in metallic silk, award show silhouettes, the kind of gown designed to shatter silence under a spotlight. Analysts tied the fabric choice to strategic contrast. Metallic equals impact. Impact equals trend velocity. Trend velocity equals 80 million streams in 24 hours. The numbers are ready before the moment happened, and if it does? Fans already mapped the echo. Within 48 hours of the summit, Selena will be spotted at Chateau Marmot. Probability 41%. Why? Because one rare beauty exec quietly reserved a suite for that exact weekend, then buried the booking under a corporate shell. Could be misdirection, could be a recovery shoot. But in this world, uncertainty is engagement, and anticipation is its own economy. At this point, fandom wasn't fandom anymore, it was surveillance with a soul. Algorithms refreshed every 30 minutes. Monte Carlo models projected reappearance dates like weather reports. They tracked everything: the tempo of her tap-to-focus movement in Instagram stories, the frequency of coffee steam in her selfies, even the number of curls in her hair during interviews. Obsessive? Maybe. But this wasn't chaos, it was coordinated. The same analysts who predicted Ariana's split with surgical precision now had Selena's emotional volatility mapped like stock prices. And every refresh came with its own ripple. A single rare beauty restock? Interpreted as symbolic stabilization? A missed Fashion Week appearance? Flagged as emotional regression. Every movement or lack thereof became marketable data. Eyes wide, notifications on, wallets half open. Because the economy of heartbreak doesn't sleep. It just changes shape. So here's your playbook. Because in this story, heartbreak doesn't end the plot, it restarts it. Step 1. Seize the mic before the rumor mill boots up. Drop a post so unmistakably you that strangers can't hijack the tone. A diner at dawn. Black coffee steaming. A caption that just says, reset. That's not just damage control, it's digital first. 8. You clot the narrative wound before the outside world pours in. Step 2. Bury private hieroglyphs in plain sight. Selena didn't just toss that Jesus loves you plush into the carousel for aesthetic. That was a code. A quiet confession. Faith is the only +1 I need tonight. You? Maybe it's the cracked guitar pick from the night you almost walked away. The keychain from a place only you remember. Whatever it is, hide it in daylight. Let the detective sweat. Every hour they spend decoding is an hour you get back. An hour closer to healing. Step 3. Let silence do overtime. Social media rewards. Noise, sure, but silence? Silence spikes curiosity harder. Selena posted, then vanished. 72 hours. No grid, no story. No breadcrumb. That blackout didn't shrink her presence, it amplified it. Exes squirmed, PR teams scrambled. The algorithm pushed her last post higher and higher because it had nothing newer to chew on. That's how silence becomes a pressure cooker. And pressure always cooks the truth out. Step 4. Transmute the wreckage. Turn heartbreak into raw material. If Selena is shredding photos and sampling them as percussion, what's stopping you from bench pressing the weight of regret until the barbell screams? Scream into a voice memo. Sketch the goodbye text in charcoal. Call it a mixtape. Call it therapy. Chain the chaos to a beat only you can control. That's how recovery sounds when no one's watching. Step 5. Map a revenue ramp. Pain will invoice you in lost sleep and forgotten meals and rent paid late because you couldn't focus. So invoice it back. Turn your breakup playlists into affiliate links. Package your recovery journal into a resilience course. If Selena can drop a limited edition lipstick while her timeline is still bleeding, so can you. Because trauma, when metabolized, becomes a product, not a gimmick, a tool. When the receipts from your heartbreak pay for therapy, gym memberships, or noise-canceling headphones that mute the midnight spiral, that's not exploitation, that's survival. The obvious, das narrative doesn't belong to the tabloids. It belongs to the one who learns how to sell the silence before someone else scripts it. Step 6. Draft a relapse protocol before you need one. Stock the freezer with meals you can heat blindfolded. Schedule a therapist check-in 2 weeks out. Cancel if you're thriving, keep it if the night hits harder than expected. Pin a reminder where only you can see it. Feelings are waves, surfing requires balance. Because healing isn't a straight line. It's a loop, a glitch, a beat that stutters before it steadies. Even Selena, with her teams and therapists and silence retreats, isn't immune to relapse. So why pretend you are? You don't prepare for weakness because you expect to fail. You prepare because you finally understand what survival actually requires: rhythm, softness, and structure when strength is sleeping. It's not about staying perfect. It's about staying afloat.